pentagon, we're going to find the degrees of rotational symmetry. So go ahead and find that. So the way you find that is you say 360 divided by the number of sides, which pentagon has 5 sides. And you're going to get 72, and then add 72, you get 144. Add 72, you get 216. Add 72, you get 288. Add 72, and you get 360. So those are our degrees of rotational symmetry. Next, we have a decagon. It's a 10-sided figure. I want you to find the degrees of rotational symmetry for this one. Alright, so right here we have 10 sides, so we say 360 divided by 10. Alright, that's going to give me 36. So we say 36. Add 36 to 36, and you get 72. 108. 144. 180. 216. 252. 288. 324. 360. So those are our degrees of rotational symmetry for a decagon. Next we have an octagon. And you find the degrees of rotational symmetry here. Alright, so right here, say 360 divided by 8. And that's going to give me 45. 90. And remember, we don't have to have 8 of these. 135. 180. 225. 270. 315. And 360. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 sides, 8 degrees of rotational symmetry. Next one we have a parallelogram. Find the degrees of rotational symmetry for this parallelogram. So right here, if you notice, it has 2 sides that are congruent here. Alright, so right here we're going to say 360 divided by 2. Alright, and we know that gives us 180. Because we only have 2 sides that are congruent. It's going to be 2 degrees of rotational symmetry here. It'll be 180 and 360. This is irregular. Okay. Next one, I'm going to rotate this polygon. Polygon 270 degrees clockwise. Notice I showed you the quadrant 1, positive, positive, quadrant 2, negative, positive, quadrant 3, negative, negative, and quadrant 4, positive, negative. And give me the coordinates after the rotation. Alright, right here, when we look, it's been rotated. We see A and A prime. We see that the signs have been, the X and Y have been swapped. We see that X and Y here. 1, negative 3 became 3, 1. And the Y value that moved to the front became a negative. Now you could also know this by knowing that you swap the signs. If you go 90 or 270, swap the X and Y if you go 90 or 270, and you take the signs of the quadrant. So we know quadrant 1 is positive, positive. So we know it's going to be a positive 3, positive 1. Same thing with B. 2, negative 1, put Y, X. And you change the sign of the Y value that has become the X. Or, you know, you just swap the coordinates and change it positive, positive because it's in quadrant 1. Same thing with C. 3, negative 3, you swap them. And then the leading Y value changes its sign. Right here, I'm going to rotate counterclockwise excuse me, rotate clockwise. Clockwise 90 degrees. Alright, and again I've listed your quadrants here. So you pay attention to what quadrant you start in and what quadrant it's going to end up in. So right here we look, A and A prime. So we see 1, 1 became 1, negative 1. Alright, so it went from here to here. Okay, that's where A prime went. And we can see that the signs flip, because remember if you go 90 or 270, the X and Y values will flip. So they flipped again. And then this time the X value changed its sign. This is now the new Y value. Or you could also know that if you're rotating that 90 degrees, it's going to go from clockwise, going to quadrant 1 to quadrant 4. Now quadrant 4 is positive, negative. Notice that this is positive, negative. Same thing with B. B is also in quadrant 1. It's positive, positive. B is going to be going to quadrant 4, which is positive, negative. So you're going to swap X and Y. Let me give you 1 for the new X, and it'll be start with 3, and then you know that quadrant 4 is positive, negative, so 3 is going to have to be a negative, and there's your rule again. Alright, right here in C, let's see, here it is already in quadrant 4, so we know it's going to be going to quadrant 3. Alright, and so we're going to swap those X and Y's again, so it's going to move it, and we know that the in that quadrant, number 3 is negative, negative here. So we know it's going to be negative 1, negative 3. Now the rule will still be Y, negative X. But we also know that negative 1 is already negative if you're looking at quadrant 3, and it's already negative here. And then the Y value just had, the new Y value just had to be turned negative, or the pre-existing X value. And then we look at D. D was 1, negative 1, and it was also in quadrant number 4, which is positive, negative. Alright, so right there it's going to be going to quadrant number 3. Alright, and D is going to move over there. It's 90 degree clockwise turn. And we know this becomes negative, negative because it goes to quadrant 3. So you're going to swap them, X and Y. And you'll have a negative 1, negative 1. Because we know our Y value was originally negative. Okay.